Stay tuned and let's check out this FondJoy DC Batman vs Superman 2-pack. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well if you show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are continuing to check out these DC FondJoy action figures. As in front of us we have a Batman versus Superman 1/9 scale action figure 2-pack. Now you know me, I am continuing my quest to try and get some solid DC representation in my collection, and my only experience with FondJoy so far has been a positive one, as I thought their David Cornsweet Superman was really good in regards to articulation, texture, likeness, soft goods, accessories. So I'm definitely curious to check out some other characters from the DC universe in this line, especially if they're all going to scale with each other. So we have Henry Cavill's Superman and then Ben Affleck's Batman, but in the battle damaged Batman armor. So very curious of these ones. It's officially licensed by DC and Warner Brothers. So you get all the logos on the front of the sleek packaging with the silhouettes. On the back, you get some write-ups, but you get a picture of both of the figures with their accessories on show. But I'm not going to waste any time. Let's do a proper unboxing, shall we? Let's get this open. So let's slide out what we have inside. So this reveals the clamshell with the two action figures and all their accessories. Let me see if I can get rid of that glare and take off this top layer. There we go. So I apologise if these all start falling out. I just want to give you a little glimpse. First impressions out of the packaging are looking really good, you know. The likeness to Henry Cavill looks solid, and you get two head sculpts. I really like the staff with the kryptonite spike on it. Then you get an assortment of hands. They both come with a stand, and they both have soft goods capes as well. So yeah, this looks great. So if you're curious about getting one of these and want to find out more, then links in the description for Bomb Busby. And if you're curious about them, then let me explain. Check out Bomb Busby, overseas toy seller that specialises in collectibles, action figures, model kits, accessories and more. Don't miss out on those items that are hard to find domestically and buy with confidence at Bomb Busby. Lock in those pre-orders with fair deposits and great shipping rates, third-party items, imports and more. Check them out for yourself at bombbusby.net. Remember, direct link to buy this 2-pack in the description below, but make sure you check out Bomb Busby and all the other things they have in store. So we've got lots of accessories on the table. Both of them are on their stand, and like I said, first impressions, these look very nice. As I mentioned, soft goods capes, really good likeness, and obviously Batman sort of requires more accessories with his armor than Superman does, but we do get an alternative head and a few different hands as well. So we need to look at these individually, one by one, and I'm most intrigued about Superman, to be honest. Let's check out Cavill. As always with likenesses, you can come to your own conclusion, and sometimes zooming in on camera doesn't do it justice, but I assure you, having this in hand, looking at it in front of me, you can absolutely see Henry Cavill's likeness. It's a little bit soft, but from certain angles when the light hits it just right, you can absolutely see him. If I spin it there, hopefully you can see it in the eyes. You can absolutely see Henry Cavill, or at least I think so. I think it's a really nice sculpt. The hair is bang on as well, and I like how the eyes glisten a little bit underneath the light as well. So yeah, bravo, really nice. And if I spin it all the way around, you can see it's very simple head sculpt, but yeah, it's all in that face. And of course we have options, so you can literally pop that off because the peg is attached to the actual head, and then the second head already has the peg attached, and you just plug it into the neck. And now we have our alternative look, which is our post laser eyes, or maybe during laser eyes. But you can definitely see it's the same sort of expression. It's the same sculpt. It's just a difference in paint application around the eyes, as now you get that readiness. Someone has farted on his pillow maybe, but I'm assuming it's his laser expression. So does he look a little bit more angry? I guess he does. You can come to your own conclusion as I throw up a side by side, which is the better head sculpt. I think the likeness on both is really good, but I'll probably go for the neutral expression for a regular pose. Looking at the other details on Superman, I think they've done a really good job, especially capturing that sort of textureness on the costume. As in the movies, of course, the costumes are really detailed and textured, and we get that represented in plastic here, really nice. I like the sort of glimmer to the metallic red and the gold there in his hope symbol. You get a little bit of gold on the bout as well, but otherwise all the blue has the texture costume all the way down to his red boots as well. And you'll notice it's completely pinless, double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, just really clean looking. And I really like the way the cape sort of drapes over the shoulders where you see all these folds. It just looks very natural, very, very nice looking. My gripe is there's no bendy wire. So if you wanted to get him in a flying pose, in a more dramatic pose, dynamic pose, then unfortunately there's no wire to do that. But it drapes nice for a natural pose, but I'm assuming a lot of people are going to want to pose him up. So yeah, no bendy wire is unfortunate, but the positive of that is you do get a very natural looking drape and fold over the shoulder if that's important for you. On the back as well, you do get some continued lines in the sculpt. So yeah, they did not skimp on the back, even though you can't see it when the cape covers it up. So yeah, just in regards to like looks, can't fault it. But how does it move? So the arms go up, not quite to 90, but I guess they could if you force it. There is a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, but due to the thickness of his arms, you don't really want to force it further than that. There is a hinge in the hand as well with the ball, so you just swivel that and then you can swivel the hand, sort of import style, I'm sure you're familiar. You've got the ball joint up here at the diaphragm, so you get one ball joint up top, and then one ball joint down here at the waist. So that's where you're going to get your swivel, but also more rocker. So combining that all together, he does crunch forward really well with that double ball joint combination. So I like that. And without a crunch as well, you don't break up the aesthetics of the costume. You can see his abs really nice as well. So yeah, double ball joint there, top of the torso and at the waist. The legs sort of have a bit of a drop down. I don't know if you can see that really well, but they will drop down and go up really nice. Like that is to 90. You cannot fault that. And then double jointed knees are pretty clean as well. Like, can he kick his own butt? I guess he can if you force it a little bit. Bravo, looking good. There's no boot swivel, of course, as it would break up the design, but you do get ankle pivot and rocker and a toe hinge as well. So standard articulation, and it moves really well for the scale. And the advantage of having the bigger scale is you can dial in those details just a little bit more. And they've definitely done that with the likeness and the texturing. And I really like the colours. I like the sort of darkness to his blue. And I think this is a great representation of Henry Cavill's Superman. So out of the packaging, he comes with a set of fisted hands, but we also get some open palm hands that I guess you could use for like more flying poses like such. Finally, a set of C grips as well, so we can hold things, maybe that Batman spear. And before we move on, I did want to just check out, can he get into a flying pose? So I've tried to arch his back a little bit using that articulation. Now the cape, unfortunately, will just drape and flop all the way down. That is the disadvantage of no bendy wire, but you can get him in a sort of flying pose for sure and sort of rest the cape on top of him. So if you have a flight stand where you can get him to fly as such, or maybe some wire dangling from a shelf, you can absolutely make it work. And yeah, again, I do really like it. But if you don't want him flying, he has his stand, which is very simple. We just get Superman on the front, the Batman versus Superman logo. Then you get the sort of grip that literally goes in. And if you wanted to use it as more of an isolated display piece, you absolutely can. I really like the idea of doing this, but with like every incarnation of Superman, as I think it would look really good. There you go. Just like that, we've got our new Superman and Henry Cavill Superman, both with unique stands. Now we just need Brandon Routh, Christopher Reeve. Am I missing anyone else? Now let's take a closer look at our Ben Affleck Batman in his battle damaged armor. Now remember, this battle damaged version is exclusive to this 2-pack with the Henry Cavill Superman. If you want a regular non-battle damaged version of this armor, you can get a single packed version from FondJoy, and it is in stock on Bombusby right now. Just go and check out the site. So this is the only head sculpt we get with this, and you can see the likeness to Ben Affleck underneath there with that exposed eye socket. You can see his grin. Well, it's not a grin, it's a gritted teeth, angry expression. He is not happy. He has just got his face busted in. So I do really like the sculpt there. It actually looks like a big helmet on top of a human head. Very clunky and chunky with scratches in the actual sculpt as well, all the way around. I really like the gunmetal sort of grey metallicness to it as well. But it's not just the helmet that is battle damaged. If you look on the chest, you've got scratches and scars and scrapes. Same on the shoulder. And you can see these same elements throughout the whole figure, on the arms and the shoulders and the crotch piece, the ribs, down on the legs, the shins. Yeah, lots of battle damage. Even on the back here, I like the mechanical spine and some scratches up top. And I like how the undersuit of the armor is done like in a textured black, and then the actual armor is a bit more cleaner in aesthetic. So it's a nice contrast between the two, but you still get all the articulation you would want. So you still get the arms going up to 90, as these are a soft shoulder pad that move out the way. Odd placing for the shoulders, granted, but it does mean you can get the arms a little bit higher, but you're going to squash the shoulders with that soft piece. You've got the bicep swivel, and then unfortunately, even though it's a double jointed elbow, you're only going to get the single joint to 90 with how thick his armor is. And then you've got the imported wrist hands moving down to the waist. You've got the swivel at the waist, as you've got the ball joint there and there. So up top is where you're going to get more movement. That's a lot more swivel up there, as well as tilt and a little bit of forward and back. Shall we try that out? So Superman was pretty good, but of course he's in a big suit of armor, so you can forgive it for it not being that great, because it wouldn't be that great in a big suit of armor. So it's more accurate, if anything. Does he have the drop down hips? Yes, he does. And you can get the legs to 90. That's not bad at all. And then double jointed knees, but due to how thick his legs are, you're only going to get that single joint just because how thick those boots are. You see that metal piece there is sort of hindering it. But again, more accurate to a man in a costume. And then you've got pivot, a little bit of pivot, more rocker than pivot, but no toe joint there. And again, completely pinless, as I've hid the mechanical elements of the design within the articulation. So you can't really see any of the cuts really obvious. Like obviously I know there's a double ball joint there, but the way they've sculpted it, it looks quite natural. And if I spin it around to the back, you can see the cape is plugged in up top there. And then it is a soft goods cape done in a nice black to match the undertones of the costume. And it's a bit of tattiness at the bottom, little bit, but more importantly, it actually has a bendy wire. So if you wanted to get this posed up a little bit more dynamically, you absolutely can. And it makes such a difference to a display. So yeah, you get two pieces of bendy wire either side of the costume, the cape, and that definitely makes a difference to the posing. But all in all, very impressed for a battle damaged armor. What else has he got? Out of the box, a set of fisted hands, a set of gripping hands. They're not quite a set, but you do get some more gripping hands, as he does have multiple accessories. And then just one trigger finger hand, because he has weapons. Here we have his selection of weaponry. First up, we have the grappling gun, which has a really nice sculpt to it, done in the gun metal grey, and of course he can grip it with one hand. We also have the gun, which is done in all black. Again, a nice sculpt, but no additional detail, and it's quite soft for a gun. Like you can see it flex in there. I guess that's to so it can go into those thicker hands better. We also get these two grenades. Now, don't let the carpet monster eat these. These are the kryptonite gas grenades, and he does have some hands to hold them, but don't breathe too closely to them as you may choke. And then we also have his kryptonite spear with the translucent green on top, and then you've got a very nice sort of chrome silvery handle with some nice sculpted detail throughout it. Here we have him holding the gun, and as I said, it is quite rubbery, so some people won't like that, but if you're just posing him up, it will absolutely do the trick. There is a selection of gripping hands like I showed you, and multiple of them will hold these little grenades. Here we have another gripping hand, this time holding the grappling gun. No problem. And remember, it's a man in clunky armor, so the poses will be quite rigid, but he can absolutely hold the spear. So yeah, it looks great, especially with that soft goods cape with the bendy wire. Makes such a difference. And again, he comes with a stand, this time with the Batman versus Superman logo in red, Batman on the front, and he also has the clip. And considering how thick his waist is, I wasn't sure the clip would actually clip onto him for a display stand, but it absolutely does. No problem at all. And he looks great. So if I bring Superman back in, there we have them, both on their display stand, looking really good. But again, in case you didn't want to use the stand, let's check out their scale. Like I've mentioned several times, these are 1/9 scale. So you can see Superman is about 7.5 inches, while Batman in his armor to the top of his ears is probably about 8 inches. And he should be a little bit taller than Superman in that armor. That would be accurate to the film. And the accuracy is the key here with that bigger scale, is that you can give it more detail. And these look great. So again, I'm not the biggest fan of the 1/9 scale. I definitely prefer the sort of 1/12 range. However, the advantages are additional detail likeness, and they definitely look like they came from the movie and that's the main thing. And talking of the movies, we actually got a glimpse of Henry Cavill's Superman at the end of the Black Adam movie, so who knows where that was going to go, but it's not to be anymore. And then I've also got Peacemaker over there from the Suicide Squad, but Peacemaker's one of those characters who's actually made it into the James Gunn universe. So yeah, the DC is definitely at a sort of reset at the moment. But as you can see, these McFarlane figures sort of scale with these FondJoys, but just aesthetically, the FondJoys are so much nicer. The textures are better, they're completely pinless, the articulation is better, accessories are better. So yeah, if you're thinking about buying movie DC figures and it's between McFarlane or FondJoy, FondJoy every time. And here's a more comical look at the scale difference with a couple of SH figure arts. We've got Wonder Woman and Aquaman from my previous collection. Now these run at the true 1/12 scale, but as you can see, they will not work in a collection together. Wonder Woman was in that Batman vs Superman movie, but she was not a midget, so definitely can't use this in the same display, which is unfortunate. And sometimes these imports SH figure arts have articulation for the sake of articulation, where I genuinely still think aesthetically I'm leaning more towards FondJoy. I just wish they were a smidge bit smaller. Here we have a McFarlane mega fig of Darkseid, who I think scale wise works really well with these FondJoys. Now obviously he was only in that Snyderverse movie right at the end, but still he looks great next to Superman and Batman here for sure. Now I've showed this Superman off before and I can't quite remember what it was. It was some sort of DC movie collection. I've had it for the longest time. It definitely predates McFarlane, and that was my Henry Cavill Superman in my display until now. I think it is a no-brainer that the FondJoy is a much better representation of Superman. The likeness to Henry Cavill is so good compared to that one. So yeah, I'm definitely going to retire that old Superman. If you remember where it was from, let me know in the comments. And like I've previously shown, the only other DC FondJoy figure I have is the new Superman, and there is a fuller review on the channel right now if you want to take a closer look at that. But my only criticism is really the scale. I prefer the 1/12 scale, but as a small isolated display, a tribute if you will to the DC movies of the past, I can definitely get behind it. And if you are a DC fan or a Snyderverse fan, you're going to like these more than you expect to, I promise you that. And in regards to comic figures, until Mattel give us their highly anticipated DC line, we're stuck with McFarlane. So here we have the very first, I think, McFarlane Batman and Superman. And of course, it wouldn't be Dan Who Reviews without some Marvel legends. So just for scale comparison, here we have Doctor Doom and Captain America. Here we have the Maximum Series Spider-Man and Black Widow. And as always, let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. We've got Frogman, Tigra and Jeff. But then last and never least, we've got Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this FondJoy DC Batman vs Superman 1/9 scale 2-pack. Now, honestly, I've only got a little bit of experience with FondJoy, but every time I get my hands on a figure, I'm really impressed. Now, you know I love DC, but there's just not a toy line out there that I can really gravitate towards, as I'm not a fan of the McFarlane aesthetic. However, these are great representations of the characters that they are supposed to represent from these live action movies. So I can sort of get on board with creating a small little tribute display if they are all in scale with each other, even if it isn't my preferred scale choice. I don't think they're allowed to be 1/12. I think there's some sort of licensing, not really sure, but if you are a DC movie fan, check these out for yourself. I don't think you'll be disappointed. You can go and get them at Bombusby, like I said, links in the description. Go and check them out. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like reviews and ramblings about toys, then you are in the right place. Check out the videos tab on the playlist, but most importantly, please, 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 hit that subscribe button, hit all on the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club or one of the many other tiers. Get involved with a live stream. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on X, Dan Who Reviews, and as always, I will see you on the next one.